Oh, thank you. Good morning. My name is Jenita McGowan, the Chief of Sustainability for the City of Cleveland. And thank you. I'm going to just spend a few minutes talking with you this morning because, as Mayor said, we're 5 years into Sustainable Cleveland 2019. And it's really time that we step back and celebrate the work of so many people, take a look at our progress, and then really set the stage for charting us forward. So I'm going to talk to you this morning about some of the momentum we've had, why we do this work, some of the stories that have come out of the summit and in general, and then we'll hand it over to Ron and David so we can get down to the real work and the reason we're all here today. So, most of us are familiar with this kind of old, sad story of Cleveland as a mistake on the lake. This is the picture that I think was on Time magazine in 1969, the last time the Cuyahoga River caught fire. And every 10 years, the media swoops in to do this story about Cleveland, whatever anniversary it is of the last time the Cuyahoga River caught fire. And it's a story of environmental degradation, it's a story of disempowered people, and it's a story of poor quality of life. This is a picture from the early 1970s of the Cuyahoga River as it empties into Lake Erie, and you can see that the water is orange. And this is the story that many people think is the Cleveland of today still. And the point is, in 2019, the 50th year anniversary of the last time the Cuyahoga River caught fire, when media swoops in to do this story, we're going to have our own story to tell. We're going to surprise and inspire the world with our transformation to a thriving green city on a blue lake. This is what it looks like today. This is the Cuyahoga River emptying into Lake Erie, and that's quite a transformation. It's pretty impressive. Yeah. Here, I can keep looking at it for a minute. And the story we're going to tell is the story of community health. So these are people recreationally rowing on the Cuyahoga River, a river that was once burning, now people are using for health and wellness. It's a story of environmental improvement, of people working together to make sure that our waters are clean. So this is a photo of green bulkheads along the river so that the fish have a place to eat on the way to Lake Erie. This was done by the Cuyahoga County, but then continued, I think ODOT's new bridge also has additional green bulkheads on it that's being constructed right now. And it's a story of economic opportunity. We know that all of the sustainable issues we have are also business opportunities for our region. So Sustainable Cleveland is a 10-year initiative that engages people from all walks of life, working together to design and develop a thriving and resilient Cleveland region. It leverages its wealth of assets to build economic, social, and environmental being for all. Sustainable Cleveland is dynamic and cumulative. It combines a sense of urgency for action with positivity and kindness. It's inclusive, accessible, and welcoming. It encourages persistence, determination, courage, and boldness. And it promotes creativity, innovation, and lastly, and probably most importantly, execution. Sustainable Cleveland was founded by Mayor Jackson, and it's facilitated by the Mayor's Office of Sustainability. Can my staff stand up or raise your hand? Where are you? So Matt Gray, Kristen Hall, Felina Selden, Anand Natarajan, Brian Robinson, Joanne Neugebauer, and then our recent hire, her first day of work is today, Kathy Len. So, talk about hitting the ground running, right? But Sustainable Cleveland is funded by corporate, foundation, and individual support, and it's powered by the community. So it's really powered by community action. And Sustainable Cleveland is really ours to create and define. It's about shared leadership, shared accountability, and shared success. So what does it mean to be a leader at this summit? It means a few things. It means that we ask you to be present. Thank you for your commitment over these 2 days. We know we're all busy, we all have multiple priorities, but you being here, committing to be here over 2 days is really important. The success of this summit depends 100% on you actually being here in the room, because this is not a conference. And the difference between a conference and a summit is that it matters that you're here. So we ask you to be a leader through your full participation. And we're asking you for innovation and creativity. We're asking you to think big. We're asking you to think short-term and long-term. So Sustainable Cleveland is organized by these annual summits and the outcome groups or the working groups that come out of them. But it's also organized by celebration years, which was a concept that was created at the 2010 summit. This year is the year of advanced and renewable energy. Next year will be the year of zero waste, and the following year, the year of clean water. And you can see we have a total of 9 celebration years. So measuring progress is really essential to the success of Sustainable Cleveland. We've created some performance indicators that measure results really on a macro level. They're there to shine a light on what's working, to understand where we need to recalibrate, and really to help us speak the same language and to move in the same direction that ties our actions to Sustainable Cleveland. So I'm going to take a little time to go over some of these performance indicators, but we know that measurement doesn't tell us everything. So I'm also going to take some time to share and showcase really some stories that tie into these indicators that show local community action around the things that we're measuring. All of these indicators are in your workbook today, but they're also online in our dashboard at sustainablecleveland.org. I'm not going to go over all of them, but if you're really a metrics person, you can get online and geek out. So we're paying attention to economic growth. We're looking at number of clean economy jobs as charted through the Brookings Institution, and we're looking at economic growth in general. And we know that green jobs tend to be higher paying jobs. So this is a picture of the 3 founders of Tunnel Vision Hoops, some of whom are in the room today. They connected at the 2009 summit, and their main outcome after the summit was to try to build a hoop house for season extension. Through a really difficult experience, they realized that they could build a better hoop house. And they actually started a company called Tunnel Vision Hoops. You know, fast forward 5 years later, they have kept $500,000 in the local economy. They've created 5 jobs, and they've manufactured and installed more than 50,000 square feet of high tunnel hoop houses, resulting in growing season extension that provides economic benefit to the local food producers here in Cleveland. As I said, we're paying attention to higher paying jobs. So as we build a clean economy, we want to ensure that jobs created are well-paying, and to track this, we're measuring median annual wage of clean economy jobs and comparing it to median annual wage of all the jobs in our region. It's hard to say. So NORTEC, a regional economic development organization, has developed an advanced energy cluster to identify high-growth sectors within the region in Northeast Ohio. And since 2010, NORTEC's cluster member companies have grown by 602 jobs. This is an indication of growth in the sector in general, and so we're really pleased to see their numbers moving in that direction. And while it's important for businesses to offer products and services that are sustainable, it's also important for them to look at their own sustainable practices amongst their employees and within their operations. So to track this progress, we're identifying organizations in Northeast Ohio that participate either in the Global Reporting Initiative, Green Plus, or the Carbon Disclosure Project. The City of Cleveland has a local sustainable purchasing preference where we provide incentives to certified green companies. And this is an example of Marigold Catering Company, which is the first certified green caterer in Northeast Ohio. And I believe Mike might be in the room today. Mike, are you here? Hi, Mike. Welcome. And here's Lube Stop, which is a Green Plus certified business here in Northeast Ohio. And they really pioneered the use of re-refined motor oil, creating a closed loop system where this eco oil goes back, gets re-refined, and then again sold back to consumers, really reducing the impacts of mining new fossil fuels over and over again. We're tracking summit participation. We care that you're here, we care who's in the room, we map the stakeholder mix, and we really want to ensure diverse participation in many ways, because we know for the whole system to change, we need representatives of the whole system in the room. So who's here today? We asked you to tell us how new you were at sustainability, and you can see we have a really diverse group of people. Many of you consider yourself really new, moderately new, and some of you have been doing this before they even invented the word sustainability. And so you can see we have diversity in the room. I'd like to take a minute to find out who's been to a summit before. Can you stand up if you were at the first summit in 2009? Welcome back. Yeah. Can you stand if you were at the summit in 2010? All right. Yeah. And 2011. All right. And lastly, 2012. All right, so you see we have, take a look around. These are our summit attendee veterans. So if you have any questions, these people know what's going on. You can see we have some geographic diversity in the room, mostly from Northeast Ohio, but from across the US, and we even have someone here from Canada. So we're glad you're here, and welcome to Cleveland if you're not from here. And then we track working group engagement. So this is a cumulative chart of people who have been in a working group over time. Could you stand up if you are currently in a Sustainable Cleveland working group? All right. Nice. And could you stand up if you've ever been in a Sustainable Cleveland working group? Oh, we got a few more people. So these are folks who have committed to outcomes that come out of the summit over the years. And as you'll notice over the next couple days, you may be moved to join a working group toward the end of the summit, and you can ask those folks questions about that. So some of our working groups are really focused on the people part of this. The Vital Neighborhoods Working Group has been around for a few years, and they've got a few projects they're working on. They've done their second annual Potluck in the Park, where they've engaged a couple hundred people from all over the city for a citywide local foods potluck. And they're also pioneering a skills share program where they're providing micro grants to people to skill shares, share skills, and some other workshops around creating a Skillshare network here in Cleveland. And then SOMO, Leadership Labs, really are working on helping people get in touch with really truly personal sustainability in their own mental health and wellness as it relates to building a sustainable Cleveland. And then Cleveland Green Venues is a working group that's composed of major institutions, sports stadiums, colleges, universities, hospitals, and cultural institutions that are working on committing to their own sustainability work in the same areas as most organizations would, but also in engaging their patients, students, visitors, and fans. And so we have several working groups working in this way around community engagement. We're paying attention to perceptions of Cleveland, both from local and national media. Are people covering the work we're doing in sustainability? How do they see the work that we're doing? As you can see, we've gotten more coverage over the years as people are really starting to pay attention to the good work that's happening here. We're also paying attention to educational attainment. We've recently enacted a school transformation plan and passed a levy, and there's a plan to replicate the high-performing schools in the school district and to create pathways to careers in colleges. And so we do work with CMSD here through Sustainable Cleveland. You can see student displays back there. We work district-wide in collaboration with their STEAM program, and specifically with a couple high schools in the city of Cleveland, as well as St. Martin de Porres High School, which has interns in our office. We're paying attention to health, obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and asthma as it relates to sustainability. It's an indicator of how well we're doing. Some of our partners are working really hard at this. University Hospitals is looking at local foods as medicine, as is the Cleveland Clinic with their farmers market they have on campus. Tri-C is really working to educate students on local food and health, how this relates to community improvement and a vibrant neighborhood in the central neighborhood. We're looking at if we're transforming our vacant lots back into productive uses and how we're doing around cleaning brownfields. This is a Cleveland Metropolitan Housing Authority solar installation. It's about 1 megawatt that was put up in a vacant lot near their new headquarters. And so we'll be doing, as part of the Year of Advanced and Renewable Energy, a solar brownfield assessment, where we're going to look at large tracts of vacant land and assess their potential for both solar and other kinds of renewable energy, and we'll be issuing that report to the community. We're looking at how we're doing greening our buildings. We have 321 certified green buildings in Greater Cleveland, and the City of Cleveland just this year launched a green building policy for our city buildings, operations, and maintenance. To that end, the Cleveland 2030 District came out of the 2010 Net Zero Buildings Working Group. They formed a nonprofit where they're creating high-performance building districts. Their first district is downtown, and it's a voluntary program where building owners commit to sharing their energy data, their energy use, and they commit to reductions in energy, water, and carbon dioxide emissions from freight and transit 50% by the year 2030. Founding members of the 2030 District with buildings downtown are the City of Cleveland, Cleveland Public Library, St. Vincent Charity Medical Center, Tri-C, Geist Companies, Forest City, GL Housing Group, Landmark Management, and PNC Bank. The Cleveland Energy Saver Project is overcoming energy efficiency barriers by providing financing with little to no upfront costs, as well as really concierge-style services. So as of June, 308 households have been audited, and 143 have moved forward with retrofits. 49 homeowners have used the low-interest financing that's been offered. Verified savings reports based on utility information show an average savings of 37% off utility bills for these residents, with some homeowners saving as much as 53% on their energy bills. So we know this is working and a great opportunity here in Cleveland to make some big impacts. And then, of course, we have the award-winning Cozy Energy Choice program for businesses here. In 2012, Cozy completed 150 energy assessments and is on target to perform 1,450 by the year 2016. We're paying attention to impervious surfaces. The reason we're doing this is paved surfaces can be a real issue in urban areas. So we're paying attention to how we manage stormwater runoff and flooding, to understand the role of pervious surfaces in cleaning our water and really mitigating also urban heat island effects. The Sewer District's Project Clean Lake is a wonderful example of how, as a region, we can deal with this and the investments they're making in both gray and green infrastructure. So that's a picture of permeable pavers being installed at University Circle, Inc. We're looking at transportation mode shift. I think we've had a 50% increase in cycling in Cleveland since 2006. Yeah. And since 2010, we've had an 8% increase in transit ridership in Greater Cleveland. Bus transit ridership is up 5.3%. The Healthline ridership is up 11%. And heavy rail is up 23% here in Cleveland. And so we're seeing this shift happening. We're going to go back in time a little bit. The Sustainable Transportation Action Team formed in 2009 after the first summit. And they really worked on a lot of things around sustainable mobility, but one of I think their greatest achievements was the advocacy they did in order for us to get this multi-purpose trail on the Lorraine Carnegie Bridge that opened earlier this year. And so we've seen tremendous amounts of cyclists and walkers using this to get from one side of the river to the other. It's been a really great achievement of this working group, and I think we should give them a round of applause. They've made a real physical difference in the city. In 2012, the City of Cleveland enacted a Completed Green Streets Ordinance that says as we reconstruct and repave our streets, we really need to be planning for all users of all abilities and all modes of transportation. To that end, we were awarded a Bronze Level Bicycle Friendly Community Award just a couple months ago. And we're really pleased with that progress, but we understand that there's still a whole lot more work to do, and that we'll do it with urgency. We're paying attention to access to local foods. So can people get local foods through either community gardens or farmers markets? And if they can get there, can they buy them? So we have about 290 community gardens in the city of Cleveland. We have about a dozen for-profit gardens or urban farms. And we have about 16 farmers markets, all of which take EBT, electronic benefits transfer, so food assistance, and many of them also offer something called Produce Perks, which is to help people who are on food assistance so their dollars can go a little further. GrowHio formed in 2010 as a working group, and they have done great work in providing vendor startup assistance. So if you're new to growing food and you want to sell in a market, GrowOhio could help you. They got funding from the Ohio Department of Agriculture, and they will be moving forward soon, actually with a strategic plan to understand their next steps here in Cleveland. We're paying attention to clean water. This graph shows fish population increase since 1967. It's been an 8,200% increase in 41 years. So this is yeah. And so we have a couple groups affiliated with Sustainable Cleveland working on clean water. One is the Cleveland Water Alliance. They're looking at freshwater innovation as a business opportunity and opportunities for education of our population around the importance of clean water, not only to human health and the environment, but also to our economy. And then Drink Local, Drink Tap, formed out of the first summit. They are now a nonprofit that works to connect Clevelanders to their water richness, this great freshwater lake we have, but also to work globally to understand that because we're a water-rich nation and a water-rich area, that we should be helping people around the world. So they were able to raise funds for a solar-powered well in Uganda at a school, and they've created a documentary to raise awareness around this. We're paying attention to renewable energy generation, both the amount of energy and number of facilities online. And so to that end, it is the year of advanced and renewable energy, and we are very supportive of LEEDCO's Icebreaker Wind Project and the Power Pledge. So we encourage you to all sign the Power Pledge today if you have a chance. This is a pledge that says that you would be willing to pay a premium for renewable energy in your electricity bill, and it gives you an opportunity to say how much you would be willing to pay to have clean energy that creates jobs, that doesn't pollute, and that really positions us for the future. As we mentioned, City of Cleveland this year was able to, through community aggregation, aggregate 100% renewable energy to First Energy customers in town. And this means that about 65,000 utility payers, small businesses, and residents are now procuring 100% renewable energy through hydro and wind. And this has resulted in about a 2% reduction in our carbon footprint as a city. Paying attention to landfill diversion and recycling rates. I love this story. So the first summit, I think it was called Wastepedia Group that formed, and then it was called ArtMart. And this group, mostly led by Nicole McGee, has created something called Collective Upcycle, which uses materials bound for the landfill as a way for artists to create art, turning trash into a business opportunity. Fast forward 5 years, there's an urban upcycle district that's been funded by a national foundation in the St. Clair Superior neighborhood to turn a portion of St. Clair into an upcycling district. And this means there's several businesses there that have opened their doors, that are providing employment, diverting trash from the landfill and making something productive out of them. And then Zero Waste NEO is the working group that formed after the second summit. And they're really formed primarily around helping people have zero waste events. They've helped us with this event today. So if you see any of them, thank them, because it's really important that we as a community learn how to waste less. We're also paying attention to our greenhouse gas emissions, and you're going to hear more about this later, so I won't belabor the point. But we have launched the Cleveland Climate Action Plan this year as a way to help us reduce our carbon footprint as a city of Cleveland. And one of the reasons I'm excited about our Cleveland Climate Action Plan is because climate action is a great way to integrate across all different parts of sustainability. You know, you're seated by the focus area you chose. But we have to move in all of these areas to really achieve carbon reductions in Cleveland. So I love this slide because it's really about the co-benefits of climate action. You know, he says, what if it's a big hoax and we create a better world for nothing, right? So let's create a better world for nothing, right? Ron and David are going to go over our summit objectives a little bit more in depth, but really we're here to take stock of our accomplishments and honor the work of many, and we're here to chart the course of action over the next 5 years. We're also hoping to use the summit as a way to get a report from the community. So we've been talking about we need to do a 5-year report. We need to do a report to the community about what's happened with Sustainable Cleveland. And we're making outlines and trying to figure out how to do this. and really getting stuck. And we realized it's not a report to the community, it's a report from the community. So a lot of the work you're going to be doing today is part of that report from the community. So we're going to be capturing the information that you create and then turning it into a report that we'll issue after the summit. Lastly, it's really up to all of us to find out what's going to happen after this summit, to take it from vision to action. And I'm really inspired when I stop to look at the sheer number of individuals and organizations who are really active and leading this work in Cleveland. I hear from other cities that we're really pioneering in ways of advancing sustainability, primarily through the ways that we engage with people, through shared leadership and leadership at all levels. So I want to thank you for being a part of that. I'm really looking forward to witnessing and being a part of the great work that's going to come out of the summit. Just a couple logistics. Bathrooms are at either side. We're having a zero waste event, so there is only one trash can in this whole room at the back. If you use it, we'll be taking your photo. Just kidding. But everything that you should get from us should be compostable or recyclable, so if you've imported trash, it goes in the trash can. So thank you very much. Welcome to the summit.